So let's look at a quick hypothetical case study. We changed the names. The picture of Bob and Carol. They're 60, no pensions. They saved $2 million of assets, but they don't think it's enough. They think they have to work to 70. They dream about retiring at 62 because Bob hates his job. He really hates his boss. Might sound familiar to some of you. Currently, $20,000 of gross income while they're working, $10,000 of net after all their deductions, and they have a $10,000 budget, so they have enough to pay for everything. But at retirement, they want $12,000 for retirement because they want $24,000 extra for traveling. But they worry about replacing their paychecks. They worry about running out of money, probably like you. They want guaranteed income that's not going to run out because they don't have the pensions. They worry about the market crashing and big losses, and she worries a lot about losing everything, being poor. She has that fear. They worry about paying high taxes when they retire, just like you probably do as well. They worry about having no plan, probably like you. They've had a broker for 22 years. They always think of their broker as their friend, but they've never been given a plan. And they want a plan. And they like to leave money to the kids and grandkids. So does any of this stuff sound familiar? Probably to a lot of you. Probably fits your situation. So we do an analysis. The first analysis we do is, how do we look at where they're at? Well, their current assets, they had $200,000 of assets. They're paying about 1.25% in fees. They thought they're paying 1%, so they're close. But all the other assets are different. The mutual funds, they thought they're paying 1% to the advisor, but all the hidden costs brings them up to 2.92%. They had a variable annuity paying 4.61%, so total fees are 3.06 or $61,000 on $2 million. So significant fees. They thought they're paying 1, and everyone thinks that's the worst case, but it's not. Because I asked them, are you conservative or aggressive? They said, right now, planning for retirement, we're very conservative. And we don't think we have much more than 10 or 15% risk in our portfolio. And we like what you said, 5 to 10. So we do a risk analysis, and we found out that if the stock market drops like 2008, they're going to lose 100,000 of their stocks, 690,000 of their mutual funds. They're going to lose 200,000 variable annuity. They don't lose anything in the bank, but they have to say, we're okay with a $990,000 loss. We're okay if we lose 49.5%, and we're okay if we need to make back 98% just to recover. Do you think they're okay saying that? No, they just didn't know it because no one told it and no one put it in writing for them. And they currently were planning to take $60,000 of income off these assets of $2 million when they retired. We met with them, took about 4 or 5 meetings, put a plan together. We reallocated the assets. We remodeled their assets. Stocks now, they're going to have $100,000 in individual stocks. They're going to self-manage that. We're going to put $500,000 in the growth bucket for risk mitigation, put $1.3 million in the guaranteed income bucket, and $100,000 in the bank, same $2 million. But the benefit now is, because of the way we realign this, our fees are going to drop from 3.06 to 1.19, or from 61,000 to 23,000. And at this point, people go, well, Dan, why and would you and Jim ever put a plan together like this? Because we know you get paid by the fees. If we design a plan, we're going to try to get your fees as low as possible for multiple reasons. That's what we're supposed to do. But if we can reduce the fees from 3 to 1.19, what's the chance you won't become our client? It's a 0% chance. So it gets us more clients if we do what's in your best interest, and then you become a client, you stay a client, and you refer people to us. Now, this is just the cherry on top. Here's one of the big reasons we do it. How much risk are they taking? If the market crashes in 08 with our new portfolio, they'll still lose half of the stocks that he's managing. Let's assume a 10% stop loss or drop in the money we're managing with risk reduction. 50,000 loss, 1.3 million in the fixed index annuity, no loss, contractually guaranteed, no loss in the bank. So now they have to say, we're okay losing 100,000 versus $1 million, and we're okay with a 5% loss, which is what their gain was, versus 49, and we only need a 5.26% recovery gain. How would you feel if you can go from this to this? Probably pretty good. So why do we do it? We do this so then we can show you that we're going to increase the income from $60,000 to $120,000 off the assets. Well, let's look at our income plan. And when we design a plan, it's going to look like this with the colors, shows how we allocated the assets. Then we're going to show them that they're actually not going to work to 70, they're going to retire at 62. We're able to put a plan together because they had enough assets and their budget was moderate. $36,000 of Social Security each, a small pension for her. They had $24,000 in net rental income. We're going to pull $120,000 a year off of their managed portfolio and added 401k deposits for the next 2 years. So their income starting at retirement is going to be $236,000. That's before taxes. We're going to do tax analysis in a second. And that's going to happen then for the next 2 years, first 2 years of retirement. And then what we did was we stopped taking money out of this portfolio, and we're going to use the annuities, because by deferring the annuities for that 4-year time period, the $650,000 is going to give him $60,535 of guaranteed income jointly for as long as he lives. If he dies, she gets the $60,000 for as long as she lives. Her $650,000 is going to give another $60,000. So now we have $120,000 of joint guaranteed lifetime income for as long as they live. and the rest of their plan looks like that. So if this was your income plan, how would you feel? If we could show you this is what your gross income is going to look like for the rest of your life, would that then help you to understand that you've replaced your paychecks effectively? But remember, this is before taxes. Let's look at after taxes. We had $236,000 of gross income. You're going to have to report $225,000 on your tax return. We have a $32,200 standard deduction. You're going to pay tax on $193, not $236. Total federal and state taxes is $41,874. That's for federal and state. Divide that into $236. And when you were working, you were giving up about 50% of your money through your paychecks while you were deferring money to 401k, Social Security, federal and state taxes. Here, you're only going to be paying 18% of the $236 in taxes. You're going to keep 82% of your money. How does that just sound? Should sound awesome. And this shows then what your gross annual income is, what your gross monthly income is going to be, $19,667. Your taxes are $3,490. So how would you like to have a $16,177 net income after taxes for the rest of your life? And if our budget, remember they had a $10,000 budget, but they wanted $2,000 more for travel, is $12,000. How would you like to, after paying taxes, after paying for your ballooned budget, still have $4,100 more to spend than you need, or have over $50,000 more of excess cash flow? How would that feel if that's what worked all the way through retirement? Probably is going to feel really, really good. You need to design your plan this way to give you the least amount of worry and the most enjoyable retirement out there. It's creating the income. This creates the highest level of income that you never have to worry about running out. But when I show people this and they see how much income they're getting, how much they're taking out of their assets, they go, oh my gosh, we wanted to leave money to the kids. You're having us use up all the assets. So we tell them, guess what? That's not the case. So we then do a legacy analysis. Legacy analysis first points to you and shows how much income are you going to be planning to take out of your assets, not including Social Security, pensions, and rental income. So a lot of money per year. This is the cool column. It shows the cumulative amount of income. Remember, they had about $2 million, and if we get about 15 years in retirement, they would have taken out $2 million of income. So that's kind of scary. It looks like we've taken all the money out. But what if now we do a calculation that shows, what if your portfolio assets only earn 5%? What if the bank earns 4%? What if real estate earns 1.5%? Your total assets currently is $3.1 million for this couple. And let's say we get down to life expectancy of the $3.1 million, 85, they took out $121,000 of income that year. They've taken out almost $3 million of income just from their assets. Their portfolios dropped from $1.9 million down to $750,000, but because we saved all the excess in the bank, only earning 4%, they have $2.7 million in the bank. Real estate went from $1 million to $1.4 million, so they have $4.9 million left. So how would you like to start at $3.1 million, take out $3 million, and still have $4.9 million that we're going to leave to our beneficiaries using ultra-conservative numbers as far as how your assets are going to accumulate? Isn't that exactly how you want your assets to act at retirement? And I know it is. Every single client wants to start with a certain amount of assets. They want to take the maximum income they can, especially if it's guaranteed to last for as long as they live, but they don't want their assets to go down. They want them to stay flat or increase so they can leave that same amount or more to the beneficiaries. That's the kind of plan we put together on a daily basis for our clients. And then a lot of people say, well, Dan, we've been saving for 30 years and we just don't understand our plan. I go, it's not that. You just don't have a plan. So how in the heck are you going to understand a plan that you don't have? We have to have a plan, and a plan will be something that we write out for you, anywhere from a 10 to 24-page document in writing that states every single little detail about your money so you can understand it, and you can feel comfortable that we are accountable and responsible for you. We're going to read it out loud to you. My partner and I both sign it as your fiduciary saying this is your plan. If you had all those projections and this in writing, how would you feel at this moment right now? You would probably worry 95% less about your money if you have everything in writing. Never ever, from this point forward, after watching this webinar, ever do anything with your money unless it's in writing. It just doesn't make sense.